Some people are still continuing to. Okay. A very good evening, one and all. At this outset, I would like to welcome you all to the panel discussion on the topic career prospects and avenues, a global perspective. As we are very well aware of the fact that in a space of just a few weeks, COVID 19 has flipped our world upside down. In this hour of global catastrophe, it's very natural and very obvious for all of us to feel scared, anxious, and unmoved as we watch our career plans, dreams, hopes, and aspirations coming to a screeching halt. We at Delhi School of Management understand your concern, and to give you a ray of hope during these dark times, we have amongst us Mr. Rupesh Vashisht, Head of Cyber Transformation KPMG South Africa, Mr. Sandeep Pahuja, co-founder of Career Advancer, Mr. Akashdeep Prasad, Manager, KPMG India, and Mr. Kapil Sharma, Assistant Manager, Cyber, KPMG Singapore. It's a proud privilege to have you all amongst us. Before we start the discussion, let me invite Professor Rajan Yadav, Head of Department, Delhi School of Management, Delhi Technological University, to say a few words.
Thank you, Dr. Meha. Good evening, good afternoon, and good morning to all of you, wherever you are in the world. It's a global panel discussion, so therefore it is applicable. Good morning, good evening, and good afternoon to all of you. I hope all of you are doing safe and sound. On behalf of Delhi School of Management, I welcome you all, especially the panelists today who agreed to spare their valuable time for discussion in this panel today. There is no doubt this pandemic has severely affected all the economic activities, industries, human life, political order, and of course the job market. And the current need is, in post-pandemic era, the current need is to reskill and upskill, because there are going to be certain challenges and issues that we are going to face in post-pandemic era. So these kind of webinars, these kind of panel discussion will definitely guide our student to be better prepared in this pandemic era. So without taking much time, I once again welcome all the panelists and all the participants of this webinar. Thank you so much. Over to you, Meha.
Thank you, sir. Today's session will be moderated by Mr. Rupesh Vashisht, who is the Head of Cyber Transformation KPMG South Africa. Now I would like to hand over the space to Mr. Rupesh Vashisht. Over to you, sir.
Thank you, Dr. Meya and Professor Yadav. It's a good opportunity to see you. I would have been happier had I got an opportunity to talk to you in person. But I think we are living in an interesting time. This is the new normal.
Yes, sir.
Yeah,
We will have definitely discussion after the webinar, sir.
Absolutely, absolutely. And I can see you have lost a lot of weight.
Oh yes, yes, yes.
Yeah, so we will talk about.
I'm slim trim now, sir.
Yeah, I can see that. I mean, you are becoming slimmer than all of us. I mean, you look more fit than all of us.
Yes.
Yeah, so we'll chat after this one, Professor, and I would like to thank you for giving me this opportunity. I'm always been thankful to Delhi School of Management for providing me these opportunities to interact with the future of nation, which is the student community. It's always a pleasure for me to talk to the community and share my opinion. I'll be very happy to share my opinion on the current disruption that we all are going through, and I've got my fellow panelists who will share their opinion. Just to set the background, I think this is. I think there are two common keywords that I will keep using in this webinar. One would be excitement, and the second would be disruption. So this, I think, are the two most common keywords which we all are hearing. So you will notice a lot of these keywords in the entire talk. Um, I think what has happened since we've gone through that post-war era in the 80s, the economies now have been moving towards trade supremacy rather than military supremacy, which used to be there before the military era, which we were facing in the early century. Now, I think whenever we were part of any business conversations, there were few keywords which were there in almost all the conversations, like innovation, thinking out of the box, finding something which has not been done before, etc. Now I think the conversations are moving towards having continuity, resilience, and making sure the business continues, rather than thinking something which is out of the box. The businesses are no doubt troubled. They are facing this unprecedented challenge which they have not seen. The other important change in this disruption is nobody is prepared for it. While the earlier disruptions that we've seen in the last few decades, people were kind of I won't say planned, but they were more prepared to handle the crisis. There were data available. There were opportunities available for people to respond. This time, I think everybody is facing this for the first time in their lifetime, and there is no data. There is there's no experience. There is no training which can tell us what needs to be done. Had there been one, I think we would have solved this problem by now. Um, I think what other thing that have been happening in the current environment is the job seekers, the student community. I mean, I've been talking to a lot of student community members as well as faculty members who are, I won't say concerned, but they are feeling little low at this time. Uh, so I won't say there is no reason to be worried, but at the same time, this disruption, the COVID disruption, is giving us an opportunity to prepare ourselves. Now, I think this is the best opportunity for the students who will be passing out this year to really think out of the box, because as I was explaining, there is nobody who is trained to handle this. So now there will be a real test of people being trained or being smart. So somebody who is smart will take the lead rather than somebody who is trained. So with this as the background, I would like to just open this discussion to my fellow panelists. And in the meantime, if you have any questions, you can pop it on the chat. We would like to take as many questions as we can in this limited time that we have. And we will also be sharing our contact details. So if any one of you wants to talk to us and want to have our opinion on specific matters, we will be more than happy to share our opinion, and we'll try to help you as much as we can in the current capacity. So with this as the background, let me just ask a question to Sandeep. Sandeep, you have been in the HR industry. We have been talking to each other from, I think, last 1.5 decade now.
Yeah.
What do you think has changed for the freshers and people who are early in their career, especially in this disruption? Do you think this disruption has put any change in the way job seekers reach out to market, or the way employers are reaching out to job seekers? What do you think has been changed with this disruption?
Yeah, of course, Rupesh, we'll talk about that. But let me first thank people like Dr. Joshi and Mr. Rajan Yadav for creating such a platform for everyone. And obviously, Kapil and Rupesh yourself for coordinating and helping all of us with this platform. Of course, my name is Sandeep, and I'm from Career Avanza. I'm the co-founder of Career Avanza. Our services primarily include psychometric testing and career counseling. with students. And yes, the primary concern right now for everybody is health, right? And we discussed that on different platforms. But today we're going to focus on career prospects and avenues. Yes, there would be a lot of changes. Some of the changes we have seen already, and it is not the first time that the industry or different verticals, I would say, are witnessing changes. We have been used to changes, I would say, since we have seen a couple of slowdowns, and since 2010, I would say it became more prominent, wherein technology in all the aspects of the life, be it professional, be it personal, professional more obviously, has taken a lead, an unprecedented lead, I would say. Right. So, yes, business scenario itself, if we talk about, has changed a lot over the years. So there have been a lot of prominent changes in the business scenario, uh, especially if we talk about past couple of decades. There has been a push towards more remote workforce, which obviously allows teams to be more spread out now. In the past, remote work was reserved for special situations. That kind of idea is now replaced by a lot more freedom of where you work and when you work, right? And this is not only for the people who are entrepreneurs. This is for everyone now. And due to this remote work culture, the concept of, I would say, the work team, which we used to see, has shifted from being confined to one physical location to being spread out all across the world, if the need be. Right now, in this webinar as well, we are, since as Dr. Yadav opened, we are in all part of world right now. Rupesh is sitting in South Africa, I'm in India, and somebody might be sitting anywhere else, right? So teams also can be more spread out now, you know and because of this, the tools that the businesses have been using have become smarter now, right? Earlier it started off with email, which dominated the workforce in 2010, around 2010 and all, right? Many offices now prefer instant communication methods would be Skype for business, can be Skype for business, or probably I saw a new tool actually which I was not aware of, called Slack, right? Some businesses are using that too. Okay. And so the tools also have become a little smarter. The tools that we used yesterday are no longer being used by organizations or by teams these days now, right? And a very important aspect in terms of organizations is that organizations have become a little less hierarchical. Today, we see a lot of organizations which are flat. The days of the top down or directive approach are gone, I would say, at least in tech. In parts due to competitiveness of labor market or overall focus, on being one of the top companies or the great places to work.
I think Mr. Rupesh, we lost Mr. Sandeep.
Yeah, I think we have lost connection. Am I audible, Kapil?
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, you are audible.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
So, let Rupesh be back. Hi, I'm Akash Deep, and I'm also one of the panelists, and I've been working in India, from the day one, and I've seen both services and manufacturing sector. So to continue where Sandeep left, that we have seen disruption, and disruption not only now, we have seen disruption since decades. And I will only talk about India, where India has seen many disruption, and we came with flying colors, and all the disruption had different traits, and this disruption also has a different trait. So just to give you a glimpse, I can talk about three, four major disruption which happened in India and which brought opportunities also. Similarly, this disruption, as we speak internally and externally with our clients, because our role is more client facing as well, to speak with lot of corporates, and we see lots of opportunities also which is being brought up, which I can talk. But just to give you an example that how disruptions has shaped India and where we have been today. I would say, many of the things is because of disruption. I'll give you example like, World War II really that acted as a catalyst for our independence. Lots of growth happened at that point of time. Then we had a serious food crisis in India, and we responded with the Green Revolution in 1960-65, and that's where we built reliance. In 90s, there were very low job opportunities. We had limited foreign exchange. We had limited foreign exchange to an extent that we could only support 3 weeks of import. Okay, but there also we responded, and we responded with a bang where we opened our economy, and we seen lot of growth, lot of spurt in growth. And from 90s to early 2008, we have seen only growth happening in India. There was always growth story. We have seen growth percentage which was very, very high, to the extent that it even reached to double digit. And if you see, the shift in economy was from nothing during independence to agrarian economy, which is agriculture based. Now it's more service sector economy, where around 50% of our GDP is through service sector. And I would it won't be any shine saying that we are moving towards a digital economy. So lots of things will be happening in the digital economy. Now there is a disruption which has happened now, which is pandemic, COVID situation, which Rupesh has rightly mentioned, that it is unknown, and it's totally unknown territory, and kind of black swan event for us. So if you see, if you see what, so every threat or every disruption, as I said, India responded, and we responded back as an opportunity. We see lots of things which will come up due to this disruption, and some of the things which I can talk about is the way we are going, the way India is going to respond, or we see a lot of changes in the job market, is new skill sets, as Dr. Yadav also said in his early while commencing it, that we need to reskill and upskill. So lot of changes in the skill development, maybe traditional way of working may not work. So due to pandemic, you will be see there is lot of shift in the global supply chain. There was lots of reliance in few countries earlier for the global supply chain, and fortunately, unfortunately, we never made ourselves to the kind of manufacturing boom never came in India, and we directly frog leap to service economy, rather than most of the countries actually travel from agrarian to manufacturing to service and digital economy, but we frog leaped, and our manufacturing never boomed. And currently also, as we speak, manufacturing is only second to service sector in contribution to GDP. But going forward, you will see lots of spurt in manufacturing as well. Okay, and when I say manufacturing, manufacturing is just not limited to uh, what you say assembly, or car manufacturing, or phone manufacturing, but there you will see lots of small and medium enterprises turning into component manufacturing as well. So just to give you an example, if you pick any AC, air conditioner at home, most of those ACs will say are manufactured in India, but the components are actually being manufactured outside India, and they are being imported. The components, as generic as compressor, are being imported to India. When you order something in Amazon or Flipkart, you will see, even steel utensils are being imported from some other countries. So this happened mostly because of some of the policies. India had traditionally been a very labor protective country. So you have seen now there has been lots of reforms in those areas. So land, labor, and capital. This all three areas has been targeted now, and this is your professor will must have been interacting with you, and these are the major component for any manufacturing units to flourish. And going forward you will see lots of manufacturing being flourished now, but it won't happen in a traditional manner. Like I said, India leapfrog to service sector. Similarly, there will be frog leaping here also in terms of technology. So we have not seen much of industry 2.0 3.0 in India, but you will see lots of industry 4.0 in India directly, because we haven't graduated gradually. But lots of so if you see lots of automation, small factories will going forward will may set up with lots of automation, wherein technologies like artificial intelligence or connected technologies will getting used. CNC machines will be used for component manufacturing to make it more fast and most more global adapt. Now that is a change in manufacturing sector I see. It may not happen in very short term, but in long term, it's happened. So I am very bullish about this sector currently. That is one. Regarding service sector, of course, as Sandeep also when started, he said that you will see, market is completely open, and we saw the service sector boom from, if many of you might have also heard of us or might have seen, we saw this boom through BPO sector only, where we saw lots of call center being set up in India. Then slowly it was knowledge based industry, and slowly India become a IT service provider. But then it was all happening due to one factor, which was cost. Okay. But now, what I can see that cost will not be the only factor from now onwards, due to this pandemic situation. Because people have realized that there is no more, and it took really COVID-19 to make people realize that it's not, distance really doesn't matter. Currently, I'm sitting at my home and talking to all of you with, and in this platform remotely. I feel it's really great, and how technology actually can enable. I am currently doing work from home for almost past 2 months, and I've been doing. Fortunately, I'm able to do this seamlessly. I'm able to interact with my team members. I'm able to assign tasks. I'm able to get reports. I'm able to report to my bosses. So all this is happening seamlessly, and we are in touch without any disruption. So similarly, you will see the economy is getting slowly decentralized. When I say decentralized, currently you will see only big cities like Delhi, Bombay, Pune, Kolkata, or any other metropolitan cities in India or in world as well. All those economic activities were being carried out from those centralized hubs. Now it won't no longer be be that, and it will be more distributed economy, which will be happening in India as well. TCS has already gone bullish about work from home, and maybe in next 2 to 3 years they are targeting entire workforce will work from home. There won't be any need of office. When you say that, then it's the talent market is completely open. It's open to entire world. You will see lots of freelancing opportunities also coming in, because now people can work from home. People can work from here anywhere. People can connect. So having said that, this connected world, there are other threats as well. That is cyber security and other aspects, which I'm sure Rupesh, heading cyber security, will take it over. So the crux of the matter is change is the only constant which happens, and we have seen many disruptions, maybe, and all different nature. We coped up with that and came out in very flying color. This time also, I'm very sure we will convert this disruption into an opportunity, and probably India will get benefited in short, medium to longer term, if not in shorter term. Over to you, Rupesh, if you are back.
Sure. Yeah, thank you, Akash. I think you have raised some very important points here. I am in complete agreement that while the world right now is going through this unprecedented disruption, it is the technology that has saved the day for us. So, in fact, if we are having this webinar, it is because of the technology. I think we can't even think of having such session in the normal circumstances where I'm sitting here in Johannesburg, Kapil is sitting there in somewhere in Singapore, and the other panelists are all in different cities in India. So I completely agree with you, and I want to take it to Kapil now. Kapil, you have been a technology professional, and you have been spending time in cybersecurity. Akash has touched upon this area now, and you have been part of this community. I mean, for which this most of the audience belongs to, which is the student community of DSM DTU. What do you think if you want to start your career now with the experience that you have, how will you change your journey so far? You have been pretty successful in your career, shining with bright colors. uh, how will you change? What do you think you will change if you have to start your journey from now onwards?
Okay, thanks Rupesh and Akash to being touch on the automation as well as the cybersecurity domain, and I can see a lot of questions around those skill sets and the profiles that should be changed post COVID. So I would like to start with my journey when I was a part of MBA program of the DSM, and in how I brought to this particular point where I am leading some of the cybersecurity solutions here and being the part of the automation and the digital disruption, which everyone is talking about, right? We recently
Mr. Kapil Sharma,
yeah,
hello.
hello, yes,
Sorry to interrupt you, but your volume is very low. We are unable to hear properly.
okay, is that fine now?
It's okay.
Okay, okay, sure. Thanks for that interruption. So I think the message should be conveyed in a proper way. I was talking about my journey when I started my career from KPMG, and I joined from Delhi School of Management. So in one of my topic, actually, we brought out one of the content, which is the tender, right? The RFP, request for proposal. So as a human, we generally have a tendency, unless we see the outcome, we intend to do nothing in that direction, right? So we need to see why do we need to keep enhancing our skill set, and what's the right approach, being in the cybersecurity, automation, artificial intelligence, and the machine learning, right? So when I again go back to my journey, right? So when I joined KPMG after sitting idle for at least 1 month, and I was completely lost which particular domain should I pick, and what's my skill set. So I identified one of the project in the IT procurement, and I approached my senior and asked him to involve me, as that's only the thing which I knew a little, some of the nuances of the bills of material, scope of work, eligibility criteria, right? So fortunately, that was a part of the digital transformation. Then my manager got another similar opportunity and asked me to work on that as well. So we actually started to speak in almost same languages. We understand their languages, the client understand our language, and when we are doing all these projects, so also did some of the certification in the automation, be it business process management or the robotic process automations, right? And so my whole point over here is that we need to keep upskilling ourselves, right? And post this COVID-19 period, right, when we all are talking about if I had been to given a chance this point in time to choose a particular sector or to choose a particular profile, right? Having these much years of experience in different profiles, what should I choose, right? So I would say it's a journey, digital transformation journey. It's a car, right? And you have to focus on three aspects. One, either you can become an escalator, right? Or you can become a gear, or you can become a brake, right? When I say escalator, so escalator you can become in the sense that if you are in a finance domain, right, you can learn more about the financial modeling. if you have more interest in the statistics, you can become algorithm developer for for the artificial intelligence or the machine learning. You can build some sort of models though you don't have any coding experience or the background, right? And you can handshake with the technologist and come up with a product, right? So you can accelerate this digital transformation journey from here post COVID-19. Or if you want to become an gear, right? So you have to create a buzz around these technologies in the market, and then you can probably have more experience in terms of the marketing domain. So people who have in the MBA program and are more interested in the marketing domain, they can actually become that gear, that whether you want that technology to be in the market at the first gear or the fourth gear, right? You have to choose if you have interest in that. Or on a contrary side, the third part of the car is the brake, right? So you can also become that, because when you see a lot of new technologies coming into the market, and as Akashdeep mentioned, that it exposed to a lot of risk, right? So when it comes to the risk, there is always a cybersecurity force who is actually putting that brake on the CTO mind, that okay, if you are coming up with this technology, there are some risk poses to this. So there are a lot of opportunities in the cybersecurity domain as well. And as we all know, we need all the three components to run a car and to reach a particular destination. So I would say for the DSM students and the students who are outside this community and are really freshers, so they should keep looking on these aspects, and will need to choose, okay, which part should I take, and accordingly they can again search for the profiles and the particular skill sets.
Sure. Thank you, Kapil. I think you have been very open in sharing the experience that you have and talking about the kind of trainings and skill set people are looking for in the industry. Let me just take it back to Sandeep now. Sandeep, what do you think when the colleges and schools are not working the way they were working previously, and and the kind of training and methodologies that we have for learning are not available now, but at the same time there are new ways of learning is available. What do you think people can utilize their time to upskill themselves? So what kind of trainings and counseling session do you think people should look for?
Sure. I think it's a very viable and a good question in these times. Rupesh, yes, we have been sitting, in our places, in our houses, confined to one place for over 1.5 months, 2 months now, and yes, the employment activity has been a little slow, but it has not stopped. Companies are hiring. There has been some data also on the net, which you can pursue as well, that there are over 80,000 jobs that people can pursue right now, and I'm talking about freshers or people with 2 to 5 years of experience, or mid-level executives. And hence there have been some changes also in recruitment cycle, I would say, and in the style of recruiting people that companies are adapting. Earlier, what it used to be, there used to be a face-to-face interview, and there would be a couple of rounds. People would judge them on their appearance, on their skills a bit, but there have been a little more to that now. you know uh, like there now, the when we talk about the procedure, the processes, there is more dependency on technology, first of all, and it has already started. So fully remote recruiting is becoming the new normal. So the pandemic is quickly changing how every organization is attracting or recruiting talent, right? First of all, and on the basis of my discussion with other industry experts at different stages and at different times, people think, and experts think, that contractual jobs, the number of contractual jobs will increase. These are the other changes apart from what Rupesh exactly asked. And competencies, when we talk about competencies, what companies will look at, the competencies, one, companies will look at more multitaskers or generalists now, from from if I think from a recruiter's perspective, which I've been doing for past some time, I would look for a multitasker or a generalist for every entry level role. And I would look for some of the competencies. If you talk about, companies will look for emotional intelligence, not only EQ would be more important now, you know uh, the way you deal with the situations and take decisions calmly, which are not intellectually but also emotionally right, will become more, I think, more pronounced. And the courage of conviction, very plain, in very plain words I'm talking. So courage of conviction, if we talk about, employers would prefer candidates who display calm and composed attitude and can take fearless decisions now. Apart from that, you need to be adaptable. Adaptability is one thing that we have seen, as I was talking about before I got disconnected, that we have seen a lot of changes since 2010. One needs to be completely adaptable. We don't know what future holds for us. This time we never thought of. We never imagined that these times will come when we would not be able to even meet each other or shake hands. So one needs to be adaptable, and this is what companies will look forward to. And of
Sure.
course there is.
Yeah, thank you, Sandeep. I would like you to just extend a bit on this adaptability aspect. So, how do we train to become more adaptive as we used to be? Is it like a trait which somebody has by virtue of the family background and the way one has grown up? Or do you think one can spend time and be trained on being more adaptive and adaptable?
See, it can be both ways. In my practical experience, I have seen people who were raised like that and who were by default like that. But I have seen people graduating to that level where they have become such adaptable persons, and they were able to wear multiple hats. As we talk about that, as we say, they were able to justify different roles given to them at different point in time and at different levels. So you need to understand things, and you need to understand the work environment, and then accordingly, as I said, you need to take fearless decisions sometimes.
Okay, sure. So what
Yeah,
I'm
Rupesh.
understanding is it is more of a experiential learning as well as there are some formal mode of learning which is also available for being more adaptive.
Learning, as I said, it can be both the ways. Some people are adaptive by nature and right from the
Yeah,
beginning. As you
yeah.
said, it is in them. But it is not that if you are not adaptable right now,
Mhm.
you cannot mold yourself. It is about changing
Okay,
yourself, and we have learned the hard way, and we have learned the hard way this time that you need to be
absolutely.
adaptable and changing ever.
Yeah, yeah. I think the industry has been more adaptive than the
Than anything
humans
else.
so far. Yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
Yeah.
So
Hello,
thanks, Ali,
hello.
for
Sir,
sharing the thought. I would like to take it back to Akash now. Akash, there now Sandeep has spoken
sir, just
about
want
being
to ask
more.
one question.
Yeah.
Hello, I just want to ask one question. That can you tell us what kind of course or what kind of short term course can we do in this time so that it can help in, I mean, after this, if when everything gets open, so that can help us in the future, in the near future. Any short-term courses or something that would help us in a job or in finding some new job.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. Sorry, Sandeep, would you like to take that? Courses
Yeah.
which short
So,
term may be available.
yeah. So, Mehtab, right? Mehtab,
Yes, sir. Yeah.
before we decide upon what course to do or what area to pursue further, if you want to upgrade, first you need to decide your direction, in which direction you want to head, and that needs to be identified through your aptitude and interest. Look at that. Look and try to identify your aptitude and your real
So just
interest,
want to
and
know
then
that.
accordingly, you just cannot go. Yeah.
I mean that adaptive thing that you mentioned, that on that thing I just want to know that what kind of thing that can help us, what kind of thing we need to do right now. So in the by I mean the third quarter of this year or something like that, that will can help us. I mean when we are trying to find new jobs, if someone trying to find new jobs or trying to upgrade their current this profile in this in the current company he's in. So how can we utilize
So
this
one
kind
thing,
of time?
so one thing that anybody can do right now is obviously you know the path that you've chosen for yourself, right? And you want and you are sure
Yes, yes.
where you want to head towards, right? Look for key three opportunities or key three technologies that are very much in demand, okay, and where the world is moving towards, and try to pursue these. Try to
Okay.
pursue these. There are many online courses this time.
Yeah. Yeah, Sandeep, please carry on.
Yes, Rupesh, you were saying something. Some
What I
online
was saying is
courses
that
right now.
try to pursue.
Yeah, carry on, please, Sandeep.
Yeah, so try to pursue some online courses on these top three technologies or things that you identify for yourself, which is actually taking you to the next level. Next level, as in, which would help you beat the race. People would identify, the employers would identify new skills now. Rather than only degrees, skills, acquiring skills would help. So identify top three technologies in your area which you're pursuing, and go for that. There are many online courses, an academy, and a whole lot of other things which are giving certifications also. But you have to identify your
Sure.
aptitude and your interest and the top three things in that.
Thank you, Sandeep. I think you've touched upon a very important point that one should identify his interest and his passion before pursuing any course.
And
So
aptitude, yes,
extremely,
yeah.
extremely important. Yeah, yeah, extremely important. Kapil, I just want to throw this back to you again. Now, there are a lot of courses, as Sandeep is also highlighting. There are multiple platforms which are available these days to pick the right course. But how do we pick the right course is the question. Would you like to respond to it, Kapil?
Yeah, sure. So, thanks, Sandeep, to touch upon those points that one need to see which particular thing you want to pursue in future, right? But the point of the identification. So, let me just give a little bit clarity on the identification part. That how would you going to identify which particular skill set that you want to acquire right now, right? So, first thing is if you want to see the current trend, right? So you may refer to the lot of job portals. You can see in which particular industry or which particular profile you want to go, and just see the job description which has been posted by different HRs and what they are actually looking for. So accordingly, you can decide. Okay, if I want to seek my future in the let's suppose cyber security, right? So in cyber security, what type of job posts are there in the market in MNCs, right? And in those keywords, okay, these are the things which is in my area or the interest, as Sandeep touched upon. So then you can pick up those courses only, right? Just don't go here and there. And I would also like to say that for the future or upcoming courses, right, upcoming skills which are in demand. So I think like as Rupesh is heading ahead of cyber security, and Akash Deep is also leading the IT practice in the KPMG East sector, right? So they can also contribute in that sense that they'll guide you. Okay, these are the things which are in the leadership, which are in the thoughts of the leadership, and they are looking forward to this particular direction. So let's suppose if we talk about the data lake, right? The data warehousing, analytics, and as I touched upon on the financial modeling as well, right? So where we need some sort of financial background. And manufacturing automation is also there. So as Akashdeep rightly pointed out that he is very bullish about the manufacturing automation in this particular time period. So you can use multiple forums. So we got a lot of queries around this, and that's why we started one of the community on LinkedIn platform itself, which is our smart professional name, right? So Rupesh and I started a month back because we were not able to take every question every time because of workload. So the upcoming opportunity, the upcoming skill set that we would require, we keep ask people, okay, rather than pinging us one to one and we may not be able to answer your questions, so you can post it over there. Other professionals who are there, like Akashdeep, Sandeep, and so many are there, right? So they can, from their expertise, their experience, can guide you. Okay, these are the things, these are the upcoming skill sets that you should look on, rather than what's the current in the market. Hope I'll be
Sure,
able
thank
to answer
you.
your question.
Yeah, thanks, Kapil. I think you did to an extent. I would like to just take it to Akash as well. Akash, there is a question on the chat, and this is related to what we are discussing now. Now, the way the job market has been evolved in India, I think, especially for most of the white collar jobs have been going to the IT sector. Now, whether somebody is a mechanical pass out, pass out, electronics communication pass out, or a civil pass out, there used to be a trend that people will find a job in the IT sector. Now, you highlighted an important point that the trend is moving towards manufacturing and Industry 4.0. So, how do you think this trend towards Industry 4.0 is shaping up the job market? Are there specific kind of skills that people are looking for, or you think one should be just reactive to respond to the market, and there'll be more jobs coming up? How do you What do you think is going to be the trend in the manufacturing jobs, especially with Industry 4.0 in place? Akash?
So yeah, am I audible? Yeah.
Yes, you are.
So yeah. So thanks, Rupesh, for asking this, and I will continue and build upon previously what Sandeep and Kapil touched upon, and also touch upon this aspect. See, one of the attendees asked that what kind of training one should look for. Okay, and then this is a question whether Industry 4.0 is we see that the Industry 4.0 maybe with the next big thing, how to train yourself. So few things or few tips which I always see as a recruiter whenever I interview someone is the right attitude, and whether you have been able to justify so all of us are learning day in day out, and people who are there in college are doing it more theoretically than practical, and we are doing in a practical manner. So whatever we are doing, we should be very diligent about that. So whatever we do can be used in some other aspects as well. So just to give you an example, like you said, most of the white collar jobs are in IT. Okay, but IT standalone is nothing. Okay, so say if I am, and IT is always there for the enabling business. Okay, so you need to have a business knowledge as well. So if I want to develop a software, say if I want to develop a software for running enterprise, which is ERP or solution, unless until we know business processes, successful ERP won't work. Similarly, if I want to develop a project management tool, and if I don't know nuances of project management, I won't be able to develop a new tool. Similarly, when we are talking of Industry 4.0, it's nothing but merge of industrial processes, manufacturing processes, and technology. So unless we have we have our basics in right place, that how it won't happen overnight. Okay, you have to you one has to be very uh, vigilant about new technologies, and also the key processes, how manufacturing evolved, how currently this is happening, and one has to look from a very uh, holistic, one has to take very holistic approach. Sandeep touched upon a very right point, that conviction and confidence. So if we are convinced, and we have enough conviction that I want to build my career Industry 4.0, I should be more focused upon both the aspect, which is functional and technical. Try to gain knowledge on both the areas, and you will see slowly things will fall in place. Maybe in the year one you may not be successful, year two you may not be successful, but year three you will see success on your own. And I will tell you my story. It worked with me also. I had a pure manufacturing background, and I came to technology advisory practice. But what helped is when I stick to the basics, when I applied my past knowledge and merged technology knowledge, actually the result were really really great. So what I'm trying to convey is, we should always stick to our basics. That is one. And two, should learn new and build upon the new things which are coming upon. So when we say industry 4.0, it's nothing, it's not new, any new thing happening, but merging of few things, like, which is already existing, and also adaptability of new changes. So if you ask me what really, is what really are the skill sets, I would say functional skill sets. Then you need to adapt technology skill set, and the third aspect would be, any new thing, like, robotics, automation, whatever new technology or languages which is coming in. The the key word is attitude. You keep on learning, you keep on unlearning. The more adaptable to changes you are, your chances of becoming more successful you be. So you adapt basic traits and you build upon that, rather than, just
Sure.
going behind certain certification
Sure.
should only help to add upon, your skill sets.
Sure. Thanks, Akash. I think
Yeah, Akash, Rahul here. I actually asked this question. I basically come with a lot of industry background. So my question was
Hi,
primarily
Rahul.
with respect to, how does the industry is looking at it? Because Industry 4.0 has been around for almost like 10 years. And,
Right.
in fact, dealing with customers from Europe and America, all that,
Right.
the acceptability is still not there. The industry is talking about it. I think in every forum that we talk about, people use this term. It has been abused more, is what I can say at this point of time. We are talking right now with respect to how the student should look at it. The candidate
Okay.
should look at it. I actually wanted to
So
have your views how the
yeah.
industry is looking at it and how is the adoption from the industry point of view. People
No,
can, students can hear to this word, go after it, probably may not realize in a job is what I wanted to have your opinion on.
so I think you have hit the nail, and you are raising a very, right question, that, is Industry 4.0 is talk of town, or, kind of only limited to forum discussion, or there is adoption. So, I would say the adoption has already started. I have seen few companies which I am currently interacting with. I cannot name them, but they are already in path of implementation. And there are few companies where, they have already gone for automation, and now they are going for OT security, which is operational technology security. So if you ask me, things are happening on ground or not, the answer is yes, things are happening. Of course, it happened in a slow pace, and I will tell you why this happened in a slow pace. Because of, the other enablers which is required to make it happen. So connectivity, factory, most of the factories or industries are in remote areas. So whether, connectivity, right sort of connectivity and support is available in those areas, those were the challenges. And also sometimes, uh, uh, it's project sponsorship or educating top management as well, that, whether you are going to make more benefit out of it or not. And there are in India, there are certain other softer aspects also, which is, resistance from incumbents, like, the workers who are working there, or the executives who are working there. They were seeing that as a threat, so they were slow in that. But it is now forced change which is happening, because without this you cannot compete in the market. That is one, that is very true. And because of this 4G happening, and lots of telecommunication, India seen in past 4 5 years, we have seen lots of changes in telecom sector as well. Due to this, people are adapting as well. And if you see, uh, people have been now moving to various service-based model, and lots of adaptation is happening. So to answer your question, yes, things are happening on ground, and it had been slow, but the right enablers were not in place. But it is, already in place now. And with 5G coming, I can see, this is going to be again more spread to smaller SMEs as well, not only limited to larger manufacturers. That is my take on this currently.
Sure. Thank you, Kapil, and thank you, Rahul,
Sir,
for asking this. I
hello,
think there is another, yeah,
Mr. Akash Sharma. I'm GVC Rao. I'm student of DSM TTU. We can class. Hello, Arun.
Hi,
Are you
hi.
hearing me? Hello.
Yeah, I am able to hear you. Yeah.
Yeah. My question is that what are the senior management level jobs, the executive level, like executive vice president to executive director, kind of a thing will be there in this discussion. Hello.
Never, hello. I'm unable to get your question. Could you
You
come
know,
again, please?
you talked about the opportunity of the job opportunity for the maybe middle management level, but I don't think you talked about the senior management level job.
Yeah.
No, I
Okay.
was not talking about. Yeah,
Yeah.
sure,
I
sure,
think Akash,
Rupesh.
Now,
let
let me tell you
let
the
let
purpose of joining this DSMDT course is that either to become the higher post like executive level, or alternatively to become the entrepreneur, successful entrepreneur. I think which one will be the better in this COVID-19 hitting condition? Where do we have to focus?
Sorry, Mr. Rao. I think you will have to repeat your question, and I will let Sandeep respond to it with his experience of HR and the changing environment. Can you please repeat your question for Sandeep to answer?
The EMBA course which you are doing, it is meant for the working professionals. The purpose of this
Okay.
course is also to either to become good executive level players, like to attain senior management level, or in option to become successful entrepreneur. Okay. So in this COVID-19 hit situation, what will you suggest to go for to focus on senior management level job, or to become a successful entrepreneur?
Okay. Sandeep, would you like to take that? If I've understood the question correctly, I think Mr. Rao wants to understand the trend on the senior management, especially executive kind of profile, how that is being changed. We have spoken a lot about the freshers and the junior or mid management jobs, but what is the trend on the senior level executive jobs?
See the trend, and I believe he was also asking about whether to go into a job or to
Yeah.
pursue a business, if I'm
Yes.
right.
Yes.
Yes. So to answer this question in two things, first, there have been jobs. Yes, there have been lesser jobs which were advertised earlier. Due to this situation, people or companies have been hiring a little less. But I would not say this holds true for every vertical. There are many verticals which are on hiring spree right now. If not hiring spree, they're hiring in good numbers. In terms of if we talk about the first week of May, the numbers that the companies like Tech Mahindra, Google, Amazon, Flipkart, maybe IBM also in India, I'm talking about, they were hiring close to 1.5 lakhs. And these jobs, out of these total number of jobs, around 20% jobs were for senior level.
Okay.
Right? And this was the data published in Economic Times as well. So in the second week of May. Also, when we talk about whether it is a good time for me to pursue a business or a job, this again, I would also say that this totally depends not only upon the opportunities available, but also upon my take on different opportunities available. If I'm not cut for, I think I'm not cut for a job, even if I try to do that, it will take, I may be successful, but it will take a lot of time for me to be successful in that, right? Rather than I need to decide on the niche that I need to pursue, I need to understand my aptitude and interest and then match the opportunities available to that to pursue the right thing.
Okay, sure. Thanks,
So,
Sandeep. Uh, yeah.
yeah, please.
Yeah. So,
My question in addition to this is how you are going to help us in this?
I'm sorry?
How you are all going to help us in this to get this senior management position?
Mr. Rao, your voice is not a little clear. Rupesh, are you able to hear him?
Yeah,
no, I
you
think
just
he's asking how we can help. Um, uh, is that the question, Mr. Rao?
my question is how you are going to help us in getting senior management level positions. You said the 20% jobs are right now available in that way.
So, Mr. Rao, I have been working with a lot of even if we talk about freshers or experienced professionals also. I'm a career counselor by profession, and we have been helping people right from the first step, as I mentioned. I have stressed upon that you need to identify the areas that you are good at, your competencies or your aptitude, real aptitude, I would say. So in the first step itself, we have been helping people to identify their aptitude and interest and then work according to that, rather than looking at the opportunities first and then align yourself according to different opportunities. First identify yourself and align yourself to selective opportunities. This is what we have been working upon with different people. And the scientific approach, how we take scientific approach in that, we take help of psychometric tests as well. On the ground, what we do is what I'm telling you.
Okay.
Yes, over to Rupesh. I hope that answers your question, Mr. Rao.
Answer the question. Then in that case, how to get connected?
I'm sorry, I again can't hear you.
See, my question is, how to connect with the panel now through the DSM or which way I have to get connected? My question.
Rupesh, I think we'll get back to them with that information. I think you centrally will align that, right?
Thanks, Sandeep. I think we'll have to leave it here, Mr. Rao. I think we will share the contact details.
Actually,
You can reach out to us offline because there are multiple questions on the chat that I can see now. Kapil?
no, I have 30 years of experience. I'm already part of a cylinder machine which is talked about the skill. I'm the subject matter expert of cylinder machine, and I conduct these courses also for short term. I'm already planning to take the lower level because I want to be in a senior management level in order to do all this. In that way.
Mr. Ruff, we hear you. And as I mentioned earlier, so that was a little constraint with everyone that we have limited time over here as well as in our professional life. So what we have done actually to get an opinion of an SME from different sectors, right? So we have created a community which is Smart Professional on the LinkedIn, right? Also, so all our panelists are there. Apart from that, we have also mentioned our LinkedIn profile in this meeting, the webinar invite as well. So you can also touch upon through those LinkedIn IDs. And on that particular forum, I think the person who are in different sectors and who has an expertise in different area will be able to answer your questions. Right? Is that what you are looking for?
I'm an electronic. I'm a published electronic. I am an electronic. I'm subject matter expert at Electronic Skill Council of India.
Sir, yeah. So we hear you, sir. Yeah, we hear you, sir. So I may not be the right person to guide anyone on the electronic area. So that's why we created that community. And you can also reach out individually, being Sandeep in HR domain, right? And Akashdeep in manufacturing as well as IT services, Rupesh in automation and cyber security. So I think we can use either three or four of us directly through that LinkedIn, or you can probably join that community and you can post your questions. And if somebody from that particular background would be able to help you, so that is what we are looking for.
Suppose if you come across this kind of a person, you can be in touch with our HOD, Mr. Rajan Yadav. You can share with me so that I can contact with you. Is that okay?
Sure.
Sure, we will. We will. Thank you, Mr. Rao. Kapil, I would like to you to extend on that the subject that Akash highlighted about Industry 4.0. Industry 4.0, I think there is a significant focus in Industry 4.0 on data, and we have been hearing a lot about data analytics being taken the lead against the traditional programming languages. And I've got a question here also on the chat about data governance, etc. But how do you think the role of data analytics is changing specifically in the cybersecurity area? And if you can touch upon role of data analytics in Industry 4.0 as well.
Okay, sure. Thanks, Rupesh, for that question. I've also seen that similar thing on the chat. So on the data governance side and how the data analytics, it's actually a trade-off in between the security. Mr. Rao, if you don't have any further question, can you put on his mute?
Sorry.
Oh, no, no worry. Yeah, thank you. So, as we were talking about the data governance as well as the trade-off with the security aspect of that, right? So, in data analytics, what we are typically seeing that the current oil is our data, right? The data assets. We are getting a lot of personal data as well as the operational data, and everyone is trying to monetize that data. And we are using some different technological platforms like R, Python, and SAS. And there are a lot more, right? Those are the technologies available in the market. So if you want to pursue your career in that particular area, yes, as a technical domain, you can go ahead with that. At the same time, if you want to build upon the data governance and the architecture and the models, right, you need to be more aligned towards the statistics, right? So we have been learned in MBA about the ANOVA regression and the models, right, the algorithms. So if you want to pursue this career from a functional side, that is also there. And as we talked about the trade-off with the security, so we always wanted to regulate that particular aspect from an different regulations across world. So like Rupesh being sitting in South Africa, he must talk about the POPI, right? The Personal Data Protection Act. We heard a lot of about the GDPR from European Union perspective. Everyone is trying to follow that regulation just to protect your personal identifiable information. From Singapore perspective, there is a PDPA Act. India is also trying to come up with Personal Data Protection Act, right? So there are a lot of regulations around that as well. And if you want to pursue your career from that perspective, then data privacy is something that is a keyword. If you search on Google with the data privacy, right, you'll get a lot of job descriptions, and then you can see whether you want to go for the functional or the technical aspect of it.
Sure. Thank you, Kapil. I think we are running short of time now. Akash?
So Rupesh, sorry to interrupt. I can see a very interesting question. I thought I should take that up.
Yeah, sure.
So
Please, Akash,
if
go
you
ahead.
allow, yeah. So there is
Yeah,
one
sure.
question regarding whether this work from home concept is only limited to this pandemic period. How are organization responding to this? Will it continue after this is all over? And what about current situation when when we are have to do extra hours? So I want to take it up because in lately since last 1 month, Rupesh, I am getting a request for from various companies for policies related to work from home, and these companies are not only private but many, in fact more public companies, because private companies anyways were more enabled, though they may or may not be working, but of course they were enabled. Okay, but I can see from policy per se, I from leading public sector undertakings, they have already released their work from home policy, and this work from home policy is not only limited to this pandemic situation. In fact, they are talking about in more generalist way, wherein they are saying that going forward, people can work from this many days in a month, be it their personal exigencies or they are not, they are slightly unwell, but they don't want to travel. So even public sector companies are taking that extra this thing. Of course, private companies have already seen the benefits of remote working, where lots of operational expenses are getting reduced. People can work, and there would be sense of rightly pointed out that there would be lots of cultural change as well, where micromanagement will go. It will be more output driven rather than people being physically present or not. So my take on this is it is going to continue, because we have seen lot many benefits out of this working from home culture. So you will see many organizations will making it normal, even though post COVID, things are normal. Yeah, Rupesh.
Sure. Thank you, Akash.
Sorry to hijack,
No,
but I found this very interesting. But and I faced this, so I thought I should share with the larger group.
no, thank you, Akash. I think a very, very important point you highlighted, and I think we should rightly touch upon the current trends. Thanks all. Sandeep, closing remarks. What do you recommend for for the community to focus on? Top two ideas from your side.
I think we already touched upon an aspect that we need to, during these time we need to reskill and upgrade ourselves. So the top focus for us is to reskill and upgrade yourself in terms of skills. And a couple of a couple of small things what we can do is improve your online presence. I would say I've been talking to people, and people also, employers also take a look at your social channels and ask yourself if you ask yourself if your profile is employer friendly, and also in this time you can sign up as a volunteer if you want to gain, this is more appropriate for a fresher, rather more appropriate I've been saying, but anybody can do that. You can sign up as a fresher, as a volunteer as well, with
Sure.
some organizations which are helping for social causes and all, which would
Okay.
get you connected to a lot of things.
Okay, so online presence, upskilling, and volunteering for the project. So,
This is my
um,
personal view. Yes.
okay, thanks, Kapil. Top two ideas basis your experience and the conversation that you have. Can you please give your closing arguments and top two ideas from your side?
Yeah, sure. So thanks again, Rupesh and Sandeep, to touch upon uh, the final conclusive remarks on what they should look for, and that's the purpose of this webinar. So from my side, I would say that while this digital disruption is already in place, so be it accelerator side or the brake side, but yeah, just go online, see employers what kind of job post they are actually looking to hire, and accordingly shape your career. And it's all totally depend on whether you want to go on the technical side or the functional side. And as I said earlier, get in touch with a lot of professionals, right? And get their guidance what will be coming in the future, be it industry 4.0 or the 5G. So uh, that's from my side.
Okay, so keep your eyes and ears open for upcoming technologies and reach out for help. There are a lot of people available in there to help. Just ask, reach out for help. Thanks, Kapil, for the advice. Akash, I would like you to close with your opinion on artificial intelligence and data analytics, machine learning. A lot of these keywords we have been hearing, and um, I, I am of the belief that this is going to be an inflection point for AI practitioners, considering the large amount of data which is being produced. What do you think? What your advice would be for people who want to pursue their career in data analytics? I don't want you to be generic, because I think we have heard good advice from Kapil and Sandeep. I want you to be specific for data analytics.
Yeah. So the real advice would be, you build upon your basics. So uh, all these big buzzwords or big words, if you further drill down, because devil lies in detail. Okay, so every buzzword or big word has lots of base in it. So please make your statistics very strong if you want to go for data analytics profession. So all your basics in statistics should be very strong. You should be knowing at least one or two tools and handling practical situations. Try to build upon models, and see how it works when you simulate it to larger this thing. And then maybe try to solve few practical problems as well. So this will give you a real flair whenever you enter any firm, be it it's in a big firm or smaller firm. These skills are going you to take to places if your basics are strong, and if you have applied those basics in practical scenarios. I think this is very, very important, rather than only running around the buzzwords. So ultimately you have to make your hand dirty, you have to go to detail, to get an output, and this really helps, and that's what I have been doing, and it has helped me a lot.
All right, thanks. I think devil lies in details. So look for practical opportunities to solve real life problems and go in details. Thanks, Akash.
Right.
Um, I think this I can see a lot of questions there on chat, but I think in the interest of time, we'll have to close here. As Kapil was highlighting, our LinkedIn profile is already there in the invite. You can reach out to us. Kapil runs that group to help the job seekers in identifying the opportunities. We may not have answers to all the questions you may have, but we will try to get as many answers as we can. With that, as the closing remarks from my side, it's back to Dr. Joshi. Dr. Joshi, are you there?
Yeah, I'm there. I'm very much there. Yes, actually, I had put my mic off. Yeah. So, as it is very well said, that extraordinary times need extraordinary skills and extraordinary preparations also. So, I think everybody needs to fasten their seatbelts so as to get prepared for a segue start to post-COVID career. And whatever you people said was really very enriching and very enlightening for the students who are attending, for the people who are attending from the industry. Also, we have a lot of participants who are attending this. I think you have given a very good career food for thought, I must say. Right? So, thanks for apprising us with wonderful skills to meet the requirements of post-COVID career. And definitely the best defense to today's disruption, I must say, is the right blend of knowledge, skills, ability, and the habit. So the moment we try to touch upon this cash, KASH wala cash, we will certainly be able to reap a whole lot of cash. So cash here means KASH. Here K refers to knowledge, A refers to abilities, S for skills, and definitely H for the habits which should be formed by people. But before we come to the close of this session, we have amongst us a very senior professor of our department, Professor GC Maheshwari. And I would like to hand over the space to Sir to have, to say a few words with respect to this topic. Thank you, sir. I welcome you, sir. Sir will be joining soon. Maybe he was trying to switch on the mic and he left. I'll just try to connect to Sir. Yeah. Sir, are you there?
Is creating irritation. Thank you, Maya. The
Thank you, sir.
webinar has been wonderful, and the basic points that have been covered include the pandemic effects and the vulnerabilities that we are facing with. A huge shifting of workforce has thrown a new kind of a challenge, both for the political masters as well as the corporate sector people. The second thing which has emerged very seriously is organizational advocacy. Earlier, there was a concept that office is office and home is home. But today, you have to have a room in your home to have a office also, because maybe tomorrow, 33% or 40% of the workforce works on a work from home kind of a concept in industries where it is possible. A third aspect which is very, very important, the human security, which has not been touched upon, is another issue that has surfaced during this period, and we need to gear up the sciences like biotechnology, pharmacology, medicine, etc., to ensure that we have the medicines not only for the present kind of diseases, but for the diseases that are likely to be there in the future, and people are going to be inflicted, so that we do not have millions of deaths across the globe. And fourth thing, which is very important, technological change. on a big way, both at personal level and corporate level, is going to be there in the post-pandemic period. And most important thing which we assume, so far the job, income and production are stable. They are all unstable in this transient world. And therefore we need to find new methods of production, even in the most rigid kind of industries like automobiles, steel, cement, etc., where factories are kept on with workforce working from the remote location, and technology has to work in these areas to innovate and provide new kind of tools. With these words, I thank Akash, Rupesh, Kapil and Mehtab, as well as my colleague Dr. Meha, for making this webinar a wonderful experience. Thank you very much. Thank you all.
Thank you so much, sir. With this, we come to the close of this session. I'm extremely thankful to all the panelists, esteemed panelists here, who took out time from their busy schedule and they deliberated on this topic so well. It was indeed very thought-provoking for each one of us out here. And I'm also very, very thankful to the, very participative kind of participative audience. Audience present here for asking wonderful questions and making this really more informative. Thank you to all of you. And at the outset, I would just like to say stay safe, stay healthy, and be prepared